My takeaway from this game might surprise you. My takeaway is that Jacksonville's really fucking good.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know why Jacksonville's really good? Number one, they're road warriors. They've won 7 straight on the road. They went to London 2 weeks in a row. They went to New Orleans. They go into Pittsburgh where you got to meet the final boss of home dogs, and that's Mike Tomlin. And they got it done. And they overcame 3 red zone, gold zone type turnovers that were just, Pittsburgh caused them, but they were head scratchers. So, like, to overcome all that in the elements on the road, they've won a bunch of different kinds of times this year, bunch of different ways. I think we got into that spot where they lost to Kansas City, and then they got boat raced by Houston, and people kind of wrote them off. This team, we said it before the beginning of the season, if you're betting win totals and you want to look at one team that could go 5 games over their win total, it's the Jacksonville Jaguars. And when you look at their schedule the rest of the way, they really it lines up nicely for them to have a shot at home field advantage. So I thought Trevor played well. The bad pick in the end zone, I don't know what the fuck he's doing there. But when you take that out of it and you look at the rest of the game, he did everything he had to do to win this game. They went to Ridley a bunch, 7 times in the first half by my count. ETN in the pass game, I thought the wheel they hit was great. It was a tendency breaker. People talked about that. And maybe if Minka's in the game, that doesn't happen. But the safety undercutting that route, that was it. And so, like going to Ingram at the end of the game, that big drive with 9 minutes to go, they get 1st and 20. So, like, these are drives you're not supposed to finish. They hit Ingram. They hit Ingram again. I just really liked what I saw from the offense, and the defense held up. Josh Allen doesn't get talked about enough as a DPOY type candidate, but he's stacking them up. 6 pressures, 2 sacks yesterday. I think when he came out of Kentucky, I just loved his frame and the physicality that he plays with. When you think about a well-rounded player, he's that guy. And Trayvon Walker had a sack. So Jacksonville looked really good, and I thought Pittsburgh's defense stood up all day. Quan, forced fumble, kept him in the game. Huge pick in the end zone. Tank Bigsby fumble. They got a stop on 3rd and 2 in the red zone. TJ Watt, huge sack with 10 minutes to go. Like that, these are the plays that you have to make, and they made them all. They just couldn't pull it out. We'll talk about the offense in a second. But I thought the defense played great. It's easy to blame Matt Canada, right? Every week it's just Matt Canada's fault. How about fucking executing, okay? Matt Canada schemed that ball up to Deontay Johnson the first couple plays of the game.
Right.
It would have had you in plus territory at the 40. Okay, Deontay Johnson slipping out of his route or slipping in the end zone or Kenny Pickett missing that throw is not on Matt Canada. So the run game sucks. I'd like to see more Warren. I'd like to see more Austin. They got him involved at the end of the half. The end of the half field goal stuff, that's a killer.
What happened to Najee Harris?
I don't know I don't think anything happened to him.
Football happened.
I just don't think I don't see him as a guy like when you have a big hole, he's not going to hit it fast. When you have a small hole, I don't know that he's the type of guy that's so do I like Najee Harris? Yeah, I like him, but he's definitely not the right fit for this kind of offense in my opinion. And I do think they get an injection when Warren comes in the game.
And with Pickett being not perfectly in sync with his group on the outside, and then obviously coming out of the game, I see Trubisky come in. Every time he comes in, he injects a little bit of life into this offense. He really does. If you watch his appearances, he comes in, hits the checkdowns, takes what the defense gives him, but then he gets a little bit of confidence.
And then he
wants to throw the ball. He wants to throw the ball down the field.
Yeah.
He wants to throw the ball down the field. And
he's like me gambling.
You can't blame him. It's Chase.
Yeah.
He's got a little chase to him.
He's got a little chase to him.
He's got moxie. I mean, when he comes in, people are like, "Oh, here's the offense."
Well,
and then it's like, "Whoa."
Well, here's the deal. And I saw him throw the ball across his body, rolling left, and it worked out and that sort of thing. He does have moxie. If he has to play this Thursday, he's got a little bit of athletic ability. I'd get some QB run game involved in the conversation. They say Mike Tomlin says the door is ajar for Kenny Pickett to walk through it. Now, I don't know if that's a challenge to Kenny Pickett, like how tough are you because there's no structural damage. When you say that early in the week, it kind of puts it on the player. And
perfect terminology.
That's really, I didn't realize that he said that.
Yeah.
That's something.
It's something.
It's not nothing.
It's not nothing. And, you'd think you would play Tennessee a little bit in the press conference game where you're like, I'm not sure who's going to start, but like, Tomlin's like, I think he could start.
Yeah.
Now it's still not a sure thing, and maybe they're throwing off the scent a little bit, but he got blasted. And he's a tough kid. I think if he could have come back in, he would have, but you end up dealing with the hand you're dealt. That's why I don't want to put the blame on Matt Canada in this instance. I think it's all about execution for them.
That was the Jaguars' 6th win in the last 7 trips to Pittsburgh. This is surprising.
Jeez, they're the trend breaker.
Is that a reflection of Trevor Lawrence and the leadership in the locker room, Chris, or is that a reflection of their head guy?
I think it's a reflection of the head guy. Now, I don't know that all 7 of them haven't been Doug, but just the way they play, I think Doug's fingerprints are all over his team. I do. And one thing that Doug's fingerprints, like if you look at Doug's DNA, where he came from Philly, and our Super Bowl run, you guys had to prepare for us the year after. Like we're 7 deep rushing. Like there's guys coming off the bench that like can really rush. And in Jacksonville, there's one guy you're afraid of, like one guy. Okay. And I don't mean to discount the other guys, but like if you're serious about making a run, it's not a death sentence for Trayvon Walker to go get a 3rd rusher or a 2nd rusher. Like let this kid develop. But right now, the Hutchinson thing, I'm sure they're already salty about it. Mm-hmm. Okay. Sometimes coaches and GMs don't want to admit when they're wrong by making a move, right, especially this early. But what's more important, Trayvon's development or you trying to win a Super Bowl this year? I would go snag somebody. We've said that.